Time for our daily look at some of the newspaper and website stories catching our eye. Joining us, James Innes. He's the author of several best-selling career help books and founder of the James Innes Group, a CV and resume writing company, which brings us perfectly to what we're talking about, hideous job interviews. And whether that makes you more likely or less likely to want to work for that company.
Very good question. Well, this is fairly extensive research here from Glassdoor. I think it's important to realise the age bracket in question. We're talking about 25 to 35, so it doesn't really apply to us, I'm afraid.
What are you suggesting?
If you're young, you're actually, bizarrely as it might seem to us, more likely to take a job offer if you've been put through your paces at interview. Generally, about 20% of people will drop out. They'll say, actually, they won't take up the offer for one reason or another. So this is all about, the serious point here is about trying to attract the right talent. And if you are thoroughly grilled at interview and you are in that age bracket, you are more likely to take the job offer. In our age bracket, you're more likely to feel insulted, find it slightly demeaning, and think, I'd rather work for someone else.
What's going on in these interviews? When you say putting you through your paces, what does it mean? What does the Wall Street Journal tell us?
Well, the Wall Street Journal here picking up on particular kinds of questions. They say, obviously, personality quizzes, that's rather passé. That's not very interesting. That'll actually increase the likes of people taking up the job offer. But we're talking about the same, the famous sort of big tech and big banking, investment banking company questions like, yes, would you rather fight a duck-sized horse or a horse-sized duck? Why is water tasteless? What would you do if the sun died out? Yeah, how would you get that monkey down from the chandelier?
I don't know. Do you like to sing in the bath? If you were an elephant, what would you do with your trunk?
Oh my gosh! I mean, this is also in This Is Money, and James, this is your article that you've written for This Is Money about the kind of questions that people are posed in interviews. So it's on the same subject line, and we've asked our viewers to send us some of the funny ones that they've had to endure during an interview. What purpose does it serve to ask these sort of questions?
Well, there are various purposes. Some think some interviews are just sadistic and enjoy it. They think it's quite fun and entertaining. But generally, it's about seeing how you react. With most of these questions, there's no right or wrong answer. It's how do you react under pressure. I remember being interviewed a long time ago for a management role, and towards the end of the interview, one of the senior executives walked in, looked me up and down and said, "So, can you make tea?" Now, that's not a particularly difficult or weird question, but it's certainly an unexpected question. And I think I said something like, yeah, I'm quite good at making tea. I can also pop out and get sandwiches if you want. But he said to me later, we became good friends, he said, it's about seeing how you reacted. In that case, I was looking for a team player. I wasn't looking for someone who's going to be insulted by the question. No, I'm far too important to make tea. I sit here in my suit looking important.
Well, if the Chancellor of the Exchequer can make tea for his team, we should all be making the tea.
And these days, it's a good sign of good leadership, yeah.
And so, yeah, go on.
If you were facing this, what are the tips on how to deal with something that an utter curveball like... how many tube stations are there in London, or can you sell me this pen?
You don't know? No. Breathe, take it easy, don't panic, OK? You're allowed to smile, because these are entertaining questions, so you say, just give me a second to think about this. Don't sit there in silence for 2 minutes and then come up with an answer. What they want to see is the way you reason through it, the way you think your way through it. So talk your way through your reasoning, be logical, methodical, and do remember there are often, well, there is a right answer to that question, but no one's going to know it.
No,
unless you work for London
that's
Underground.
a bit specific,
Remember, it's all about how you approach it and staying cool under fire.
That's
just
hard.
A quick word about this next story in the Daily Star of all places. Will I lose my job if I need to self-isolate from coronavirus? Some people are really concerned about this if they're either freelance or they have a very short-term contract or whatever. Where do they stand?
Well, lose your job or get paid. These are all very good questions. Boris Johnson, I saw him this morning saying we're fantastically well prepared for the coronavirus to hit the country. But we're not really in this particular point because we don't have the legislation in place to cover self-isolation. There's nothing in place for that. Employers are under no obligation to pay you or to retain you if you decide to take 2 weeks off to protect others.
And for employers, they're not insured either.
No, absolutely. It's going to hit them hard too, but they're under no legal obligation under current legislation.
OK. James, thank you very much. James Innes, I'm still thinking about those questions. What would you do if there was a monkey hanging from the chandelier? How would you get it down? Well, we'll leave you on that note. James, you can tell us next time. Thank you.
The mind boggles